Oh, my Lanta. It has been a crazy weekend. And thank God tomorrow's Monday because this weekend it has been garbage. Matter of fact, this is going to be May update, talking about May, the month of May, because the month of May has not been kind to our family this year. Ironically enough, last year, the month of May was a great month for us. We ended up moving. It actually started at the end of April. We got really great news. And then in the beginning of May, we got really greater news. And then at the late end of May, we moved. And I just, 1 year later, it's been nothing but pure trash. This year has not been kind. So May started out with basically me losing my vehicle. I lost my vehicle technically it was like the second to the last third week of the month of April. So I started out the month of May with no car. That's been a huge challenge for our family because I've solely relied on my vehicle. I did a lot of driving. A lot of the places that I went to were not even in my neighborhood. They were like miles and miles away, so I'd have to drive really far. And also, just me in general, I like to adventure. I like to travel. I like to do things. I like to go places. And also, it was my source of escape. Like, it was just a way for me to just, catch a break, just go someplace and be by myself for like a half an hour or an hour. That has been a huge mental strain on me. I have not left this house without children in over going on 2 months. They are with me all the time, and I'm always around my family now. I know this all sounds horrible. Like somebody out there's like, what? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? From a parent's point of view, when you're with your child for day in, day out, 365 days a year, you don't get breaks. Like right now, I'm just trying to make a YouTube video and they're interrupting and they're talking. Hold on.
This is the coolest one. This is Halloween.
So I've literally been with them every day. And it's just been really rough and it's been hard on our marriage too because I'm not happy. Like, I've not been happy lately in months because I'm a driver. That's what I do. I should be a truck driver. Like, that's probably would be a good job for me because I love to travel. I like to do all that stuff and whatnot. So that's been a big change mentally for me. It's been a huge mental shift. I haven't been able to be free, and I really haven't been able to do anything. Like, I used to have a routine that I used to do, and now my routine has been shattered to a million pieces. So that's how the beginning of May started out. It also started with a lot of illnesses. We had a lot of illnesses in our house. My son ended up coming down with the flu. He had type 1A flu, and that was not easy to deal with because then I was scared the rest of the family was going to get it. Fortunately, nobody else in the house got it. Nobody got it. Nobody got sick. Don't really know what happened with that. I don't really know why he was the only one in the house that got the flu. And then, not to say that I wanted it, but he was the only one. And me and my husband were kind of scratching our heads at it. But I guess apparently it was more like a pediatric flu. Like, I guess a lot of children in my son's school were getting it, and it was only the kids that were getting it. Like, the parents weren't getting it and everything else. It was weird. After that, basically, so my husband's health started to decline. He started having asthma problems. My husband's asthma just kicked into overdrive. He started using his inhaler more. We had a couple of incidences where he had to use his nebulizer. He was having a hard time sleeping at night. And now I was pretty much like watching him all the time because he couldn't even go anywhere, like without his inhaler. He couldn't, like everything affected him. Even if he, rode his bike down the street, he'd end up having an asthma attack. And it was weird because he was literally almost a year free This is what I'm saying. This year's been strange. It's been a really strange and awkward year. It's been really weird and very, very hellish. It's been very demonic this year. It's weird. He had no asthma whatsoever. He wasn't even hardly using his inhaler last year. Like, he basically was just kind of like, we were like, cool, the medicine's working. So because his doctor had prescribed him a couple of new medications, and they helped. Like, they really helped. He hadn't stopped taking them. He was still taking the same medications, doing the same things that he always did. Nothing really changed. All of a sudden, this year came, and like I said, it's been very demonic. And especially this month, now that we're halfway through this year, his health started to decline. After his asthma kicked in and that started happening, then his back went out. My husband has degenerative disc disease. Last year in April, he ended up getting surgery on his upper part of his neck and his spine. I don't know why I said all that. In his neck, he ended up getting surgery in his neck on the upper part of his spine. And it was successful, slightly. He was, okay. So with that, then also with the asthma attacks and the other health issues he was having, then his back went out and his lower back went out. He wasn't able to walk. He basically was now, on top of having asthma attacks and not being able to breathe properly, he couldn't walk at the same time. I was basically just watching my husband fade away in front of me, and it was just getting to a point. I mean, I'm a Christian woman. I pray over my family. I pray over my house. I read my Bible. I talk to God every day and every night. I do my best to go to church as much as I possibly can, and I try my best to follow God as much as I can. But as of lately, prayers have been falling on deaf ears, and it's actually been getting worse in our family, and we don't really get it. We don't really understand it. It's really struck our faith a lot. We've been kind of like wishy-washy about a lot of things, and because I'm not gonna lie, I'm really irritated right now, and I don't understand any of it. And I know people will say, oh, things will get better and et cetera and blah, blah, blah. But this has been going on now for 6 months, and it's just been getting worse as the months keep passing. So after that, he basically, it was last Friday, he couldn't walk at all. And he basically was having bladder issues to the point where he couldn't feel himself having to go to the bathroom. And his normal functions of bladder functions were not working with his brain. His neurological and the physical were not connecting. Because of the degenerative disc disease, it's all connected with the spine. That also affects your brain, and that also affects other parts of your body. Nothing was working correctly. He ended up in the hospital Friday night, and they basically were like, okay, maybe, he needs like a steroid shot. Like, maybe we need to, well, that didn't happen, because when he was standing and talking to the doctors and nurses, he wet himself right in front of the nurse and the doctor. He was scared, and he goes, I can't feel that. And he didn't realize it. And they were like, okay, something's definitely not right here. They admitted him to the hospital. And then yesterday, he ended up having emergency surgery on his lower back. They ended up going in. Now, I don't know all the technical terms to the spine, so I can't really get into that. But they ended up debating on whether they were going to replace discs in his back, or if they were going to basically support the spine, because the lower base of his spine was destroyed. The problem was that this other operation that they were going to do was riskier. I was on pins and needles all day yesterday. I got the text at 4:30 in the morning that he was getting the surgery. 4:30 on Saturday morning that he was getting the surgery. I ended up not getting that text. I didn't read it until 6 a.m. After I read that, I was up for like the rest of the day on Saturday. So basically all day yesterday was a struggle. This was another strange thing that kept happening. So I was trying desperately to get to the hospital to be with my husband. And anytime that I would find a way up there, something would block me from going. And it was just constantly, it just kept doing it. And so finally my ex-mother-in-law was going to give me a ride to the hospital. And she was also going to watch my boys for me. Her van broke. Now, mind you, she's had this van for like a really long time. And I'm guessing like 15 years now she's had this van. She's never really had problems with it. It's never really had issues. But yesterday, it broke. She got in the van and it just broke. And she was livid. Like, livid. I was livid. Like, we were mad as crap yesterday. I'm just basically holding on to my mental health at this point with like this much. Like, there's nothing left. So the day's passing and still not seeing my husband. And they said they were going to give him the surgery at 10 a.m. Well, it's going on 4 o'clock in the afternoon. My husband had not had the surgery. He is just in excruciating pain at this point, laying in a hospital bed. I'm not there. I can't get there. Finally, around 4:30, my ex-mother-in-law says that she's just going to drive the van the way it is. She's going to just figure out how to get to my house, and we're going to go anyways. She basically hobbles her van all the way to my house. She's probably about a good 20-25 minutes away from me, but she made it. I get to the hospital, she drops me off, and I get there. I fly up the stairs. Meanwhile, it's 4 floors. I don't like elevators, so I just ran up the stairs 4 floors. Fortunately, I have good cardiovascular health. I made it, so I just ran up there. I get all the way up to the room, and I go to walk in there, and he's gone. I'm like, where's my husband? The nurses that are standing there said, we just took him back to surgery. I'm so sorry. You literally just missed him. That was it right there. I burst into tears in front of the nurses. The nurses feel absolutely horrible. They had known I was trying to get up there all day long, like just trying to do this. My husband was really depressed, really scared. He was all on his own. And he basically had to go on his own straight to the surgery. The nurse tells me that there is a surgical waiting room downstairs and I can go down there and wait. I'm like, at this point, I just don't want to leave the hospital because I want to be at least in the building in case somebody wants to talk to me. So I'm like, great, cool. Now they tell me the surgery is going to be 3 hours long. This was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So I end up leaving. I go to the surgical waiting area. I get there and I can't even the surgical waiting receptionist desk is completely closed. There's nobody there. And they have a flat screen TV on the wall that has patient ID numbers that match up with your family member. So you can basically keep track of like what stage of their surgery that they're in. Well, there was nobody there. I didn't have his ID number. So I asked the receptionist that was downstairs and she goes in the computer and she looks and she finds out he wasn't in surgery. Not yet. He was only in the prep room. And they said, she was like, they're probably going to come over here and get you so you can talk to him before he actually goes into the surgery room. I'm like, cool, awesome. Time's just ticking by. Nobody's coming. So I get up and I walk over to the flat screen. Now I have a pretty good idea that it was the patient ID number was him because he was the only one that was up there with that only doctor. And I'm like, okay, I see his doctor's name and I see that. I'm like, it's gotta be Dave. I'm like, it has to be my husband. And it said he went in at 17:25. So they're doing military time. It says that that's when that person went in. The lady downstairs is like, okay, the receptionist lady's like, all right, well, this is weird. They never came out and got her. So she feels bad for me. So she's calling and she's trying to find out what's going on. She tells me that they took him into surgery at 1700, which is 5 o'clock. Nothing's adding up. I'm like, none of this makes any sense. So I look at the board, it says he went in at 17:25, which was 5:25. I got upstairs at 5 o'clock. So you're telling me my husband sat there for 25 minutes in a room and I was on the other side of a wall and you never told him. And the receptionist lady and the doctor's PA knew I was in the waiting room and she never came and got me. They just put him into surgery and Something could have happened to my husband yesterday. He could have died. Something horrible could have happened to him. And those nurses didn't even bother telling the doctor that I was out there. They didn't even bother coming out there to get me. They didn't even care. They didn't even care. They had 2 people tell the nurses in the back at 5 o'clock that I was in the surgical waiting lounge. He didn't go in to actual surgery until 5:25. He was almost sitting back there for a half an hour. Fully awake, fully aware, just chilling. I could have spoke to him. Again, I'm pissed. All I got is this flat screen TV board. That's all I have, me and this TV. And it's the only thing I have that's telling me what's going on with my husband. And it says phase 1 at 17:25. So at 5:25, he went in. He's in phase 1 of the surgery. Too late. So I sat there and I'm just blown away because this whole thing, it's just like none of it's making any sense. And they told me it was a 3-hour surgery. They were kind of having a little bit of an attitude about it because they kept asking me, like, you know, he just went in. Like, they were being rude. And then they said it's going to be like maybe possibly more than 3 hours. Possibly. They were so sure of themselves. Like, they were so, like, amped to, like, get me out of that hospital and, like, have me go home. But I stayed. So, mind you, he went in at 5:30, technically. He got done at 6:45. The doctor came out. It was like an hour and a half. So if I would have left the hospital, again, I wouldn't have seen my husband. So not only did the nurses not tell my husband's doctor that I was out there and didn't let me see him before he went into surgery, they also lied to me about how long his surgery was going to take and made up a whole entire story trying to get me out of the building. So eventually I did see my husband at 8:30 that night. I was determined to stay. And he got the other surgery. He ended up getting a cage, and like they had to do like the extensive side of it. So now my husband's been in the hospital since Friday. So he's been in the hospital for 3 days. And as of today, he was supposed to have physical therapy. They told him that he was going to have physical therapy today and get some things done, and then he was going to go home this afternoon. So that's not happening. The physical therapist has Sundays off. She don't work. Nobody does on Sundays. So my husband's laying in a bed right now, and they're not letting him go home until probably Tuesday. Or whenever the physical therapist decides to actually do her job and get to him and do what she's supposed to do or he's supposed to do, that's when my husband can actually leave. Everything this month has been very, like I said, it's been very hellish. It's been very demonic. It's been very, very, very hard. Everything has been crucially hard. I ended up getting a job. I got blessed with a job, and I was supposed to start tomorrow. And I have a really cool boss. Like, my boss is really cool and down to earth. Well, now I can't work my more normal schedule because I have to take care of my husband because he's not able to. And it's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. But it's just that this year has been so off the wall. It's been very strange. But I will say this. 2024 has showed me the people that are there for you and the people that really care and the people that aren't there for you. It's also showed me that my own family has not been there for me at all this year. They have been very conceited and selfish. And it's been to a point where I've had to block them out. I don't know when I'm going to talk to my family again. I don't know when I'm going to. But as of right now, I'm just more or less concerned about trying to figure all this out. Like, that's pretty much all I'm doing right now. And I'm just trying to navigate through all of this. May has been probably one of the most weirdest months so far. I probably shouldn't even say that because I probably shouldn't. But that's why I haven't really been making any YouTube videos. A lot of my YouTube videos have been off. They've been kind of like off key. I'm really going through it. Oh yeah, and then I forgot to mention that so before my husband's back went out, and before or in the midst of the whole asthma issues and health issues, we ended up having one of our neighbors cause some serious family problems for us. Something that we do not need and something we don't deserve. Like I said, it's just been a very full-blown attack on our family. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, you need to press more into your faith and you need to, and etc. But the thing is, I can't press any more further into my faith than what I have been. And it's getting to a point where I don't know what else to do anymore. And people will say, you need to search your heart. I've done that. I've done everything. I don't know what else to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets to a point where you're just a human being. You don't know everything. I'm not Jesus. I don't know everything that's, I'm doing wrong, or I don't know everything that's in my life. So when it comes to my faith, I basically right now, it's just been shaked. It's been really like, really? Like, that's pretty much what it's been lately. Definitely has been a struggle this year. And I know that not every single year is going to be great. I know that not every single month is going to be great. I know that there are going to be hard times in your life. It's life. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. This year's just been off. This whole year's been off. And maybe it is a year of, building up strength and endurance and perseverance. And so when that good time does come, when that door does open and there's some light, we will be more grateful and appreciative of that time because of this time that we're in currently right now. I know that this year also there was a lot of people that I had to get rid of out of my life. I know there was a lot of people that I had to erase and just accept that that's who they are, that's the kind of person that they are, and they're not gonna change. And I had to accept people for who they are. I already said that, but that's basically the whole gist of it. I've had to accept people for what they actually are and stop making up assumptions and stop, being naive about things. And I also have had to do that about my own family members, that I've had to realize that, what is the ulterior motive here? What is what has always been the ulterior motive, and what has always been their actual view about my life and about who I am as a person. And, you can be somebody's family member, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you like that person. That doesn't necessarily mean that you actually love that person. Sometimes family members can have deep-seated resentment towards you. They can have just don't really like you kind of vibe. And it's shocking when it can sometimes be your closest family members and they've always been like this, but you are just blinded by love, and you're blinded by your love for that person, and you're blinded by your own naivety. I'm trying really hard not to do that this year. I'm trying really hard to basically cancel out the bullshit and bring in what's real and what's true. And it's time to grow up, pretty much, for me. And maybe that's what 2024 has been about, and that's what it's going to be about, is just growing up. But anyways, that is my May of 2024 life update. I am hoping that things get better. I'm hoping that out of all of this, something good comes out of all of this. But the other thing, I can't believe we're already halfway through 2024. It's been a crazy wild ride. And for some strange reason, this has been like the longest spring. Like, I feel like this spring has just been like, and it's weird because spring to me always feels like it's fast. Like, it feels like it goes really quick, and I'm always like, oh man, it sucks. This has been like the longest spring. It's been the weather this year has been insane. Like nuts. I will be right back. You can just forward through this. As I was saying, the weather this year in Michigan has been, people always say that the weather in Michigan is bipolar. No, it's not been like, it's been very consistent this year, but it's been a bad consistent. It's been very chilly, cloudy, rainy. Crap. It's been a crappy spring. Today it's sunny, but I kid you not, we'll have one sunny day and then it'll be cloudy for like 3 days in a row, and then it'll be cold. And the highest temperature that we've had this spring, 80, and that was one day 5 weeks ago. Like, it's just been very not that great. Even though it'll be like a warm, like the sun's warm, like you can feel that it's warm, the air is cold. So it's just been, it's been really crappy. I don't know if I'm turning into a summer person. Like, I don't like cold. Like, I don't like any kind of cold. Like, I don't like a chill in the air. Like, my house right now, the furnace is on right now. I will not turn that furnace off until it's like 80, 90 degrees outside, because I don't like being cold. And my house is like drafty because it's like, it was built in like the 1940s or something. So it's really drafty. So I don't dig when it's cold in my house. It's like I get up and I'm chilly. I'm like, and it just puts me in a bad mood. Anyways, that is my May of 2024 life update video. I think I'm going to start doing this now. I think I'm just going to do like monthly life updates because it's a lot easier than just like, and especially with this year, I want to remember this year because this year has been a joke. Like, it's been a literal joke. So yeah, peace out, you guys. Hope to speak to y'all again soon. And thank you for listening to my rant. It wasn't even a rant. It was actually a life update. So until June, life update.